All right. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Oh, thanks. I got one good morning back.
Good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
Good morning. Top of the morning.
All right. So today, normally we, well, okay, technically this is the review class. But as you guys know, I think sometimes I think reviews are good. Sometimes I just want to say, just go watch the damn other classes if you want to review. I was debating slightly last night with Gelsey. Well, debate's not the right word because we don't debate. She was just telling me what she does in her review classes. And I was like, oh, I think that's a cool idea. And basically what she does is she goes through a lot of the key material and then has the students pull out the answers, right? You guys have to tell the answers. And I'm like, I thought that's cool. And I'm like, you guys could do that on your own. And I also was thinking, yeah, it's not quite so, I was like, it's not quite so fair, because, many of the students in the class don't speak English. Like you're listening in translation. So what we're going to do today is I spent a lot of every class almost reviewing a lot of the material anyway, so you can go back and review things that were said. Coming up, I don't know if Anna is here or not, but she's going to be starting a library study group. And basically, we'll announce it to you soon, but basically it'll be a set time during the day. And you get to just show up and do your ACI homeworks. Like maybe Tim might come and do homework from a class he's doing, and you might do homework from a class that you haven't finished yet because many of you have done 8 ACI courses. And you probably haven't cracked open a homework. I see some of the guilty faces. Oh, I love coming to ACI classes, but I don't want to do the homework. And then there's some guilty faces that don't even have their cameras on because they're so embarrassed that they haven't done the ACI homework. So they haven't even turned on their cameras. Right. But the idea really is, to do it together. And it looks like next Wednesday at 6 a.m. Arizona time will be the first session. That sounds like I'm going to get up early to do that. It's so damn early. We'll think about it. So next Wednesday, August 30th. I know that Louisa has started a group as well to review the homework specifically. So those are posted in your chats as well. So on Monday, I had a inspiration for this class because I'm like, what else could we teach? I am going to review certain things, but what the idea that I had was later in the courses. Well, first of all, when we talk about death meditation, you always get the question, well, what do you do? Like, what do you do at the time of death? How do you get ready? How do you move through that process? How do you help others move through that process? A good way to help yourself move through that process is to plant the seeds to help other people move through it. And a lot of people have asked me, how do you help people? How do you support people? How do you be there with them? Like, what can you do for them, and what can you teach them, right? And then there's this sort of tangential practice that many people have heard of, and many people have been like, oh, I want to learn how to do this, and it's a very esoteric practice, and you may have heard it. It's called POA. And basically the idea is that you develop the ability to take your mind and transfer it elsewhere. POA means to move, mainly. Okay. So you're basically moving your consciousness, right? I'm trying to remember how to spell it. Come on, Tim. Where are my Tibetan people? Can't remember how to spell it right now. Maybe it's this. We'll find it in a second. But the idea is POA is about moving, like moving your consciousness to your mind to another location. All right. And people go, oh, well, that's wonderful. I'll go learn that practice and I'll do it at the time of death. First review question. Why is that a stupid idea?
Too late.
Too late. Excellent, Kathy. It's too late. Right? The time of death is not a pleasant experience. It's a terrifying experience. It's a confusing experience at best. So if you think you're going to get some training a month before you die and then be able to actually pull it off, it's too late. I mean, that doesn't mean don't try. Okay. But it might be too late at that point. So, but there is a POA that, there it is. Thank you. That's it. No, it's not. That's not it. There it is. I got there. You gave me. Yeah. Thank you, Anastasia. That's it. I forgot about the owl. It's POA, right? Transferness of consciousness, movement, right? So how can you prepare to die? And is there a POA that you can do that will be effective? Right. And that's kind of this has been the whole story of the whole class. It's like, what could happen to you at the time of death? Where could you go? Where could you go? Tell me. Where could you go?
Hell realm.
Oh, nice. Everyone remembers that class. Everyone was like, well, that was a disgusting class and depressing class. Okay. Right. Where else could you go? Well, Lauda is like any realm, right? You could go anywhere. And we learned about what those places were like. We learned about them specifically. Why? I know I just told you I wasn't going to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. Julia said to motivate. I want more than that. Right, exactly. Lena's like, no. So you practice, you're motivated. Do not go there. If you want to go running through a forest of razors, go right ahead. If you want to be a hungry ghost where you're not able to, your mouth is so tiny, but you can't ever put any food into it and you're hungry all the time. Okay, go ahead. That's nice, right? Or if you want to be a formless realm being without a body, just like in blissed out consciousness, that's samsaric. Okay, go ahead, right? Those are places you could go. But the idea really is, okay, well, if those are all possible from a lower scope point of view, I don't want to go there, right? When I die, I don't want to go there. So what do we do about that? Okay. And so we get to this place in the course, I know, where we say, all right, how do we do that? How do we create that motivation on a day-to-day basis? And the picture that kind of came through was having an awareness of our own death. That's really the main thing. Having an awareness of the possibility that, not the possibility, but the certainty that this body will die. And many of you may have had experiences where you thought you were going to die. Like you got sick, or maybe you were in a car accident, or you skirted death, like you were like, if it had been 1 second earlier, that car would have totally smashed you, right? I told the story about the wing of the airplane, like landing or taking off, and it was right in the ground, almost. They probably have had flashes of moments of death, right? But how do you keep that flash? How do you make it an awareness all the time as a motivating force, right? That's what the course gets to. How do we motivate ourselves to do that? And how do we motivate ourselves? I need to get some water. How do we motivate ourselves? Rather, when do we motivate ourselves? That's right. When we brush our teeth. Got it? How many people actually did this practice when they brushed their teeth? Okay. It's fun. Why is it fun? Because we made it fun. The funniest thing to do with someone you've never done it with before is brush your teeth together. Hang out with someone and brush your teeth with them. It's a weirdly intimate thing, right? It's kind of fun. It's like you're trying to talk and like you're seeing people. We all know what brushing teeth looks like, right? We do it. Hopefully you do it regularly. I hope. Okay. Otherwise, just stay at home, please. Right? Don't talk to anybody. I hope that you brush your teeth on a regular basis, right? It's a thing that you do, right? But then like to do it with someone else is weird, right? Because then you've never seen someone like doing this, right? It's a weird thing to watch somebody do, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who's ever had that experience. Fine. But it's, so brush your teeth and then look in the mirror, right? And then you do three things. What's the first thing you do? Thank God, at least two of you remembered. Three of you remembered, right? This is why we're reviewing this. The first thing you do is you put both thumbs up. Well, actually one, because you got your toothbrush in your hand. All right. And what does that mean? Death is certain, right? Right. Enjoy yourself. Like, oh, this is kind of fun, but my death is certain and it could happen today. All right. What's the second thing you do? I don't know, right? I don't know when, right? We don't know when, right? You're still brushing your teeth, your hand goes out. You're like, I don't know when, right? Death is certain. It is certain that this body will have to die. When? Well, I don't know. It could be right now. It could be in 50 years. We don't know, right? And what's the third one? Right. The third one's the pen. I found a pen for you. Right. And that's Janet Chen won that one because that's who suggested the pen over this mudra that I had suggested. The pen, the practices of the Dharma are the only thing that carry with you. Your karma carries with you. The seeds carry with you. Right. Those are the things that you take, right? And so if you know it's certain, keep in mind now your mouth is full of bubbles and mint, right? Your mouth is getting fresh, right? Maybe you're brushing, preparing it for holy speech. I don't know. You know it's certain. You don't know when. And only the Dharma can go with you. Then we ask the question of, okay, well, that's nice, Tim. What should I do now? You give me a billion different things to do, right? There's all these different things to do. And then we talked about, okay, well, one practice that should be in your mind is the order of seed ripening, right? So then you can start choosing which seeds to plant first, because there's always a lot of good seeds to plant. You can always do a lot of good things. But what are the good things that you want to plant? What's going to give you the maximum results? Right? What's the biggest seed to plant? And then when is it going to ripen? So there's those two things. How do we get certain seeds to ripen faster? Right? First, right. Highest karmic objects. And that comes down to service mainly. Who are those karmic objects? Your teacher, your parents, anyone who has helped you significantly. Serving those people. And I want to take a break from this, again, a side tangent on this as well. What does service to your teacher mean? I've had lots of people, like I've gotten some people complain or people whine to me, or they're like, you don't let me serve you. I want to do your laundry. I'm like, okay, I have a lot of laundry to do. And that might be nice. But what you have to get subtle with, what does your teacher want? Okay. What does your teacher want? Like, turn on your camera. Thank you, Shanti. Thank you. Right. I probably could use a little help around the house, but that's not really what I want. You know, and I look at, like, I look at Geshe Michael, my teacher, right? One of my teachers. And I've sometimes gotten jealous. It's like he'll invite people over to his house to do projects, or he'll like send them on these things to do and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you're not asking me to do anything. Like, do you guys want to roll your eyes at that comment? My teacher's not asking me to do anything. Yeah, right, whatever. And in the beginning, like, I saw there were so many people serving and had different roles and different things. And so I found people who needed help, who were helping him. I found people who were serving his mission, his projects, his vision, right? I'm like, does Geshe Michael need me to do gardening in his house? If Geshe Michael knew that I hated gardening, maybe he would tell me that, but I've never told him that I hate gardening. I hate gardening. I hate it. I like beautiful flowers. Um, I hate cooking. I hate laundry. That's why I don't do it myself. Why? Because I don't know. It just there's probably some childhood trauma in there. Okay, fine. We'll put me on the couch and we'll figure it out. But for me, it's also like I'm doing other things. Like, I'm the things that I prioritize, right? I'm just looking at my sink right now and I'm like, fuck, I hate the dishes. Domestically disabled, probably, Chris. Probably. When it comes to like the things that make a household go, it functions. It works. I'm alive, sort of. So, you know, but what does your teacher want, right? And then you find out what they want and the subtleties of what they want. Okay, good. I can talk about someone because they're not here. I wasn't going to if they were here. Chloe, some of you have met her. She sometimes comes to class and sits in various places in my house, right? She also feeds my cats when I'm away. She's amazing at service. Like, it's almost like she's not even there. And I watch her like around the college, and she does it to me too. It's like I'll be there like pounding away at something in my computer, like trying to get something done. And all of a sudden she'll just walk up and then there'll be a little bowl of popcorn sitting next to me. Barely even noticed, right? And I'm like, oh, this is nice. And all of a sudden it'll be like, how did she do that? Like, she knew that I was hungry, right? And I'll eat the popcorn, right? And I'm just working and I'm feeling a little bit better. And all of a sudden, like, a bowl of chips and salsa will show up, right? Or like sparkling water will show up. It's like these weird things that she's like, and I see her do it. I'm not saying she just does it for me, but she does it for other people too, right? And it's like, but she understands, like, I don't need someone to bring me popcorn. But damn, as a student, I need to give popcorn to my teacher. Get it? Do you get the difference? Like the teacher doesn't need the student. The student needs the teacher, and the student needs to plant seeds. And then if you become a teacher, now we're flipping to the other side. You have to allow your students to plant seeds because they see you in a particular way, whether or not you see yourself that way. And this is a fun thing that happens. Maybe your students see you in a very high holy way, and you're like, I don't want you at my house because you will not see me in a high holy way after you look at my house. Right? Because I don't necessarily see myself in the same way that others see me. It's called emptiness. You ever hear of it? You ever hear of emptiness? Right? It is perfectly fine for the teacher to not see them in a high holy way, see themselves, and have a whole bunch of students around them see themselves that way, see them that way. Perfectly natural, perfectly normal, perfectly logical, right? So for those of you who become teachers, you have to be a garden for your students, right? So who's helping whom, right? As a student, you have to look at your teacher and say, well, I'm helping you. I'm helping your mission. I believe in your mission. I see you in this way, whichever way I see you, right? And then you help. And then you start planting seeds, and you plant seeds, and you plant more seeds. And then your teacher teaches you how to do it better and different and more nuanced. Why are they doing that? Why do they teach you? Why do they keep giving you new ways to do things? Why do they why does your teacher come up to you at the Peachtree Cafe, hasn't talked to you for a month and a half, won't respond to your emails, and then says, I want you to, like, you, first of all, it was like, oh, you're really good at these things. Okay, fine. Like, okay, you don't have to sell me on that. I know I'm good at everything. Fine. Everything you want me to do, you're going to tell me I'm good at, right? It's a selling trick because he's told me it's a selling trick because he uses it. Like, but it's like, you're someone who's really good at this and I'm not good at this. Okay. Okay, enlightened being Lama, fine, you're not good at this. Okay, what do you need me to do? Right. Enlightened Lama doesn't know how to do something. Okay, fine. And he says, oh, okay, I need to get health insurance for the staff at Peachtree Cafe, and tells me a pretty intense story. And he says, can you help me? Can you get some quotes for me? I'm like, okay. And it was one of those things where it's like, hasn't talked to me for a month and then tells me to do something like this. And I'm like, aye, Captain. Right. I'm like, I have no idea why you're asking me to do this. You have 20 other assistants running around you. You're asking me for some reason. Right. Here we go. Right. So that afternoon, I started the process. I started doing some research and I realized I didn't have information. So I called one person, so I worked on it for probably like an hour, maybe an hour or two. I rejoiced. I did all those things, right? And I'll tell you why a little bit later, why I'm telling you this. But your teacher is there for you, right? And I know it's difficult sometimes, especially when you're not closer to a teacher, like to serve them, and I've talked to the ACI team on many occasions. Hi, Alona, how are you? How do we provide, if I'm serving my teacher, and I'm serving my teacher's vision by running ACI, right? And I'm only doing it because my teachers asked me to do it. Okay. They asked me to do this, and I see how it could benefit many, 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 many people. Right. So the strategic setup of ACI is such that we can provide opportunities for people to plant seeds. Oh, I hate teaching you, Tracy. There's no other reason why I'm here. Come on. To create the opportunities that I had, right? The opportunities that I had when I showed up, and I just was like, oh, I'm going to go help Nicole. I'm going to go help Mercedes. I'm going to go help Jigme. I'm going to go help Christine Walsh. I'm going to go help all of these people who are serving. And I kept doing that. And then sooner or later, I started getting health insurance projects. Get it? Right? But it's establishing a relationship through service, not through forcing service, not being like knocking on the door and being like, what can I do for you? 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 Right? It's like, figure it out. Like, it's more powerful for you to figure it out. Like, what serves your teacher? Right? Okay, if someone showed up at my door right now and said, I'll do all your laundry for you, I'd be like, great. You want to do my dishes? Sure. Right? Don't come to my house. If you're in Sedona, do not come to my house right now. But it's through the service that you develop the relationship with the teacher. And that's where the teacher learns about you and learns about your strengths, learns about your karmic difficulties. I've seen Geshe Michael support people for years who are challenging. And then it's like, oh, he's providing opportunities for them. And yeah, they might cause some social challenges between people, fine, whatever. But like, I'm perfect. I'm just an introvert. I don't cause social challenges because I stay at home by myself all the time. Not really, but it's a social challenge in itself. I've caused social challenges, so I wonder why I have to see others doing it. People get upset with me. I do. Don't be so arrogant. But I've seen him just, over the years support people, and then you learn people. Like, that's how I'm learning about students. Like, just watch how they behave. you know, it's this funny thing, like, you want to tell your teacher everything, right? Oh, I need advice on this. I need advice on this. I need advice on this, right? Geshe Michael got to a point where he said to me, do you remember that class I taught back in 2014 in Lamrim 21? And I'm like, you remember that? He's like, yeah, go watch that. Bye. I already told you. You already know what to do, which was kind of harsh, frankly. But I was like, oh, wait, this was just an affliction. You know, but if you want to reach those higher goals, like, you have to, one of the four main practices of seeing emptiness directly, which would be the thing that would get you out of samsara, is service to somebody. Whether it's a teacher, whether it's your scripture teacher, whether it's your ACI teacher, whether it's your partner, your child, whomever it is. If you see them special, find a way. Kathy asks, How would it be, Kathy, if you want to come over, you can do my dishes. But Kathy lives far away, right? Where you live in where exactly?
Belgium.
That's right, Belgium. So I'm not hinting and I'm not suggesting. Okay, but think of a third way, right? Think of a third way. Think of a third way. There's always a way to do something. The Venerable Phil, who's my neighbor, right? His students support him tremendously, and they're not even here. Most of them are not here, right? They find a way, right? But what I'm saying is, I'm not hinting. What I'm saying is, with the motivation in mind, you will find a way, right? Your teacher might show up in Belgium or might show up on a tour, or some weird karmas might ripen. How do they ripen? Or how do you plant them? Well, a lot of it is your motivation. A lot of it is, I'm serving them. Okay, so ACI, what have we done? We try to find opportunities, right, to serve. Alona needs help with marketing. We need help with branding. We need help with design. We need help building our Kyoto program. We need help with our website. We need help with our platform. We need help with this. Do you want me to list? I could keep going. There are a huge list of things that ACI needs. Contact one of them. Ask to help out. They will find a way. The problem is that we have so many people wanting to help out, they don't have time to manage all the people that are helping out. That's okay. That's a good problem, right? Run study groups, Louisa. That's helping, right? Send Tim text messages a half hour before class, Svetlana, to give him the Zoom link, right? Whatever is needed, right? Why does Tim need Zoom links? Because Tim always shows up late. So Tim needs a Zoom link in a place where he can find it in 3 seconds. But does Tim really need a Zoom link? I don't know, but it looks like Tim needs a Zoom link. It helps him out. It makes Tim's life easier. Tim doesn't have to spend hours trying to find it. Why can't Tim find Zoom links? Because Tim is dyslexic. My eyeballs don't work the same way. If things aren't in a certain place, Tim can't see it. I had a fight with a staff member once. They're like, it's right there. And I'm like, where's right there? I can't see it. My eyeballs don't work that way. In this form, my eyeballs don't work that way. Or my brain doesn't interpret the data, whatever, I don't know, right? I need Zoom links in a certain way. And if they're not there, I can't find them. And it's not a criticism of anybody else, because I just can't see things the same way. So I have all these systems in place to manage myself, right? So it's very kind, Svetlana, that you send me Zoom links. It helps me, because when I can't see, it stresses me out. And then I get upset and I get frustrated, right? So find a way to help. Find a way to help your teacher, whomever your teacher is. And it's uncomfortable as a teacher talking to students about how to serve teachers. Okay. I'm trying to use my own examples. Like, don't wait. Don't wait for somebody to ask you. Don't wait. You could offer 1,000,000 times and no one could ask you to help. Just take the initiative. I'm doing something today to help my teacher. I will do it. I will take that personal responsibility. Why? Nobody else can. Nobody else can except you. And if you have the capacity to do it today, just fucking do it today, because you don't know if you're not going to have it tomorrow. You don't know. And when you have experiences that prove to you that you can lose it tomorrow, don't waste your time. Please. So where I want to go with this today is like, what can you do once you have had that feeling of, I could die today, death is certain, I don't know when. What is a practice that you can do? Like there's many things you can do, right? But this actually comes from ACI 14. And the story is, you probably have heard it in many cases, in many times, that his name is Geshe Chikawa. And as he's dying, he's making this prayer, and he's making a deep prayer, and he's saying, I want to go to the hell realms to serve all these beings. I want to take care of all these suffering beings. And he's pissed off because all he's seeing is an enlightened paradise. He's like, I want to save everybody. And the karma that he's collected over lifetimes is now ripening. And he's like traveling down the tunnel of death. Right. And all he's seeing is the enlightened paradise. But what he wants is still to take care of suffering beings. So it's kind of funny, and it's kind of, he's like kicking and screaming into enlightenment. He's like, no, 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 I'm not ready to go. There's still people to take care of. Right. Which is the motivation which pushed him into it. Right. So that's where this practice comes from. So now that you've done your death awareness meditation, what is it? Like, how can you live it? And this is what I'd like you guys to take away from today's class. And it's called the 5 powers. It's called Topna. There's plenty of, there's group list of powers, and this one's called the 5 powers. So the first one is called, so yeah, you just had those realizations, right? You're just like, right? Someone's been studying their Tibetan. So when you wake up each day, you make a resolution. So here's your picture. Here's a guy waking up, right? Stretching. You actually make this resolution before you wake up, right? Before you move. It's a secret practice. You don't tell anyone you're doing it. You're just laying in bed, petting your cats, right? Cats are hungry. They're bugging you because they want to eat, right? Pronounce what? Topna? Or I think that's what it's Topna. It's a lower tone. That you say, I'm going to wake up and I'm not going to waste this day, this life, this year. And this is where it gets interesting, right? What aren't you going to waste your time on? You're not going to waste your time on, well, Netflix is one thing you could do. My favorite comic is having a Netflix episode or series come out in like 3 weeks. I'm so excited. you're not going to waste your time avoiding destroying your self-cherishing. The thing that gets us in trouble is that we only think about number one. You only think of ourselves. Me this, me tired, me dishes, me hungry, me money, right? Me lonely, me horny. Just kidding. Me. Thank you guys. Right? Need a little bit of humor. Right? Me. Like you only think of yourself. Good luck, translators. So you're going to resolve to remove this tendency to only think of yourself. Right? So we're just because we're on the topic, because I went there, the problem, okay, so think of self-cherishing in a certain way. There's many ways you can think of it. If you, okay, how do I say this? If you think, if you don't understand where pleasure comes from, me horny is just going to be planting bad seeds. Translators are like, what? Okay. Because if you think that somehow, even if you think that somehow that the pleasure that you're experiencing while making love is coming from the person you're with, you're already wrapped up in self-cherishing. What? If you think that the pleasure you experience during orgasm is coming from the person you're with, you're suffering from self-cherishing. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And I was trying to find an example that wasn't that, but I'm just going to use it because it's a poignant example. Okay. And that's where all of our problems show up, because then we start becoming attached to people. We start becoming attached to doing things in a certain way. We become attached to, I need this. I need this. You are the vessel of my pleasure. I need you to create pleasure for me. I need you to make dinner. I need you to make me happy. I need you to be my emotional support. I need you. You're the reason why I have all of those things. You have to do this for me. Okay, that's harsh, right? But if you look at some of the way we have relationships, that's the way we operate. And it is based in self-cherishing, and you have to meditate on it. You have to meditate on that. Where does pleasure come from? It's the ripening of a seed of you having provided something nice to someone else in the past. So where do you think it comes from? How would that change your lovemaking activities? If your partner provides emotional support, where did that come from? If your partner doesn't provide emotional support, where does that come from? Where does the reaction of being upset when your partner doesn't provide the emotional support come from? By blaming them, you're self-cherishing. Right? By blaming others, you're self-cherishing. And it's nefarious, and it's a deep, deep tendency that we have. Even the tendency to think that we're not going to die is self-cherishing. See, so we make a resolution. We wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to beat this thing called self-cherishing. Yay. And because this is a nice list, the second thing you do is you become accustomed to it. You get used to thinking this way. You get used to making this commitment, right? And so the texts say, as an advice, is that anytime you transition, remember to think about this. So here's a worker, I'm thinking like an Amazon delivery driver. I don't know. Sitting down, then getting out of the car. This person literally gets in and out of the car every house. Okay. So anytime she stands up, anytime she sits down is a transition moment. So you start using transitions skillfully and mindfully. Right? Those transition moments in your life and during your normal day. To think of ways of destroying your self-cherishing and to think of ways of how to increase that wish for enlightenment, which is taking care of other beings. All right. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste the time of standing up from this chair. Standing up from this chair can be a powerful seed. All right. And then this is, we've already given this advice. This is number 3. Do the things that amass tremendous amount of good karma and purify yourself. Oops, sorry. And purify yourself of the negative karmas. Right? Do things that are massive. This is a redwood tree in California. Look at the guy, how tiny he is. But look how big the seed can grow. Do things that have the most, as we say in English, bang for the buck. You know, you can do a lot of nice things. You can do a lot of good things. That's not a problem. But which ones are going to give you the most powerful, quick, and largest results? Okay. We talked about this in the, the 4 priorities, right? Think about highest karmic objects and think of the highest priorities. And that will start shaping the choices you make on a day-to-day basis. And then get into the habit. This is number 4, the destruction, Sanjimpa. Learn to bash, to smash on the head anytime self-cherishing pops up. Okay, you guys know this game? Anytime your self-cherishing pops up, you need to be ready to smash it on the head. This is called whack-a-mole in English. I don't know what, I'm sure you guys have these games in carnivals where you are. Okay. And I put it on repeat. Okay. Because this is what it's like all dang day long. Bam, 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 bam. Anytime it comes up, you need to smash it. You need to be ready for it because it's a tendency, it's a habit. It's a habit that we all have. And you have to find it. You have to find it. Like, find your misunderstandings. Thanks for a good time tonight, honey. Yes, thank your partner. Celebrate your partner. Thank them. I didn't say don't do that. But also know that where it came from. Where did the seed, where did the pleasure come from, right? And that's just going to make you a better lover anyway. Thank you very much. So, and then lastly, before you go to bed, this is what Tim's coffee meditation looks like. Right? Just like wrapped up under the covers. Before you go to bed, make a prayer that all things that you did today, dedicate every action you did towards the two types of bodhicitta, towards the wish for enlightenment and also the deceptive way, and then the ultimate way, which is the seeing emptiness directly. So that's how you can make it meaningful, right? Like, you do your thing, right? And then you're like, okay, well, what do I do with that, Tim? Okay, well, wake up in the morning, you make a commitment, right? I'm making a commitment to destroy my own self-cherishing. Do things during the day to accustom yourself to that. Kompa, excuse me. Every time you transition, every time you do something different, remind yourself of your motivation. So you get used to thinking this way. Then, God damn it, just plant the biggest seeds. Plant the biggest seeds. The most powerful seeds and the seeds that are going to ripen the fastest. Study the 4 priorities. Study what it means to plant seeds for karmic partners. Learn about karmic seed planting techniques. And that's what we're doing in a lot of these classes. And then destroy that tendency when it pops up. Think about whack-a-mole. Just keep coming to class, Lena. You learn the techniques, right? Hit that mole when it comes out of the ground. Bam, 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 right? Have fun with it. It's like, oh, there it is again. Wah, well, there it is. Okay, So and then lastly, make a prayer at night. Dedicate those seeds. Coffee meditate, both to deceptive wish and to the ultimate wish. All right, so that's the first interpretation of the 5 powers. Okay, now we're going to get to the fun part, because you've all been waiting for this. You all hear the word POA. How do I take my mind and send it to another consciousness? That sounds like fun, right? And as Kathy said, If you try to learn this on your deathbed, it's too late, right? There's also, this is the open version of POA that we teach. And then there's a Vajrayogini version too, which you can learn about later. But if you take these 5 powers and we turn them into a serious death practice, right? You're not really changing. We're changing the orientation of the 5 powers, but we're really doing the same thing. Okay, we're just changing the orientation a little bit. That this is what can send your consciousness to a better place, like just Geshe Chikawa. Okay, so you start practicing, that you make, so we're now thinking about the time of death, right? We're imagining the time of death. Okay, right? This is not POA. This is not what it looks like. You don't have a soul. Okay, but this helps. Got it? She's dying. Mind is going elsewhere, right? As you die, like this is where is my, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to move things around here. This is what I want. Okay. So as you die and then move into the bardo. So this is kind of like an idea of the bardo, right? That as you're in the process of dying and then transitioning to a next life, that you won't lose the wish for enlightenment. Okay. So there's a slight shift here, right? Where general 5 powers practice is about committing yourself to destroy your own self-cherishing, which is kind of a wish for enlightenment too. All right. But you're basically saying, look, I'm going to transition. I'm going to move into another life. This body has to die. I will not lose the wish for enlightenment while I'm dying. And whatever happens elsewhere. You make a resolution. And then the second one is you get accustomed to it, right? That so when you do actually die, I couldn't find a better picture than this, but it's like it's open 24 hours a day, right? That when you do die, that you will continue to have the content, the thoughts of bodhicitta. You will have it, right? The first one is a resolution. I will do it. And the second one is to get accustomed to that. And that requires training. That requires practice. That requires all of those things. Okay. You have to start today. So we did earlier in the course, we did a death meditation, right? We did the dissolution. Here's another element you can add to it. Lena's like, how do I get the techniques? Listen in class. Giving you the techniques. You do the dissolution meditation, but then you imbue it with bodhicitta. As your gross and subtle elements are dissolving in your body, keep the wish for total enlightenment for the sake of all beings present. Try. That's hard, but try. So the third thing is as you prepare for dying, is to offer everything that you own. Give it away. Everything you possess. Give it to everybody, especially your body. Give away everything with no possessiveness. Okay. Can't take it with you anyway. But it's very, very important to have everything taken care of, everything given away. So get your legal documents in order now. If you do have a surprise moment where you die, all that's taken care of. Right? You know that everyone's going to be, the stuff is going to be given away. Your body, your mind, everything is given away. Okay. And it's really fascinating to me that how seeds tend to work in patterns. You know, it's weird when you start teaching things, how things just start happening. Like you teach things or you think things, and then you see them in the outer world. It's really bizarre. It's really unsettling. And it's also very humbling too. You know, during this class, I made all these jokes about I could just fall over and have an aneurysm, right? I made this joke all the times, right? And I had a weird thing happen. I didn't have an aneurysm, just letting you guys know I'm fine, mainly. But on Sunday afternoon, I had a headache that was like getting hit in the back of the head with a baseball bat. Like it was like someone had come up behind me and hit me in the back of the head. Right. Now, of course, I didn't fall over, but the pain that I experienced went from zero to what I imagined I would feel if I got smashed in the head. And the intensity, it went from zero to probably the worst pain I've had in my life in about 15 seconds. And it lasted for about 5 minutes. Um, then I was like, well, that was weird. So I went home and I took a nap. So I was like, it felt like a nap was the thing to do. Um, and then I woke up about an hour or so later and I was like, what the hell was that? Right? What was that? And so I literally just described headache that feels like being hit with a baseball bat, right? Into Google. Like, well, what's Google going to tell me? By the way, don't ever, in general, don't look up your symptoms and self-diagnose using Google. Okay. There's 5,000 different things and anything can be, right? But sometimes Google's useful. So literally, I described it's called a thunderclap headache, right? It's a headache that acts like thunder, like lightning strikes, and then you hear thunder right away. Um, and I was on a highly reputable medical source. It's called the Mayo Clinic. Um, and basically, there's a million reasons why you get a headache like that. But in 10% of the cases, it's a brain aneurysm. Okay. Or your brain's bleeding. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Wasn't having any other symptoms, right? I'm not like losing consciousness or I'm able to move my body fine and whatnot. But then there's like this line that said, sometimes those other symptoms don't show up for 3 or 4 days. And if you don't get treatment immediately, you will die in 30 days. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of a warning. And I thought about it for a while, and I was like, wasn't feeling that great, but I was like, if they had said 1 out of every 10 million headaches like this is a brain bleed, I would have been like, all right, statistically speaking, I'm fine. So I'm not experiencing anything else. But when they said 10%, like I was like, well, 10% of 10 million is 1 million, right? It's like, that's a little scary. And I was like, I should probably get this checked out just in case. And there's a neurology clinic hospital about an hour and a half away. Probably shouldn't have driven myself, but I drove to the emergency room, right? And literally I'm having all of these experiences that I'm teaching about right now. I was like, well, shit, what if this is this? I was like, do I have my affairs in order? It's like, well, I don't. And I was like, well, if I have to go into surgery or something, like, do I have anything organized? No, I don't. So I started doing all that organization, right? And I was like, all right, well, if this is it, I was like, I'm like, part of my mind's like, this is ironic. I talked about this entire class and now it could be happening. Like, so I just was like, all right, well, I made a list of things because I sat in the emergency room for 4 hours. They saw me in half an hour, had all the tests done, right? But I sat there for 4 hours. I made a list of all the people I was going to call, and I made a list of all the who was going to get what, who was going to get my money. ACI was going to get some. Don't worry. Okay, ACI be taken care of for based on our current budgets, half a year. Spend a lot of money, right? So I just was like, I did all of that, and then eventually I fell asleep because I got bored waiting. And I kind of figured if something serious was happening, they would have come in by then, right? It's a trauma center. There's tons of stuff happening. Like people having actual strokes and things like that. You know, and I went through this whole process, and I was like, oh, this is, and then interestingly, the next day is when I like remembered about the teaching. I was like, oh wait, I remember this teaching, and I went through it, and I was like, I'm going to teach this, right? Because I went through that process. It was like, yeah, it didn't happen, or did it happen? And then I changed the seats. Did Geshe Michael know something was going to happen and then say, Tim, go help some people with health insurance the day before it happened? Maybe to activate some seeds that I needed to activate. You know, I don't know. I can't tell you what was happening. But what I can say is that my teacher asked me to do something and I did it immediately. I started the process, right? And then the next day I had a weird health thing happen. Like a headache like that is not normal. Everywhere said seek emergency medical attention immediately, right? Unless you've sought medical attention already and you know why those headaches get triggered for you, right? Because I was also like, well, my bodhicitta was like, well, shit, I still have stuff that I still have to take care of people. That's what got me in the car. Literally, it was like, I still have to take care of people. And taking care of people is taking care of me. And if I'm having this problem, I need to get it fixed. Right. And so I did. Right. And I actually think it probably happened because it reminded me of this teaching. And now I get to offer it to you. So yes, Tracy, I like my students. I like teaching. Okay. Maybe something came through. I don't know. but my teacher didn't talk to me for a month and then told me to help out with health insurance. It's a little suspicious, in my view. It's a little suspicious. Okay. Because nothing is fixed. Nothing is fixed. Maybe I did have a problem and maybe I purified it really quickly. Maybe I had one of those diamond cutter sutra headaches we've talked about. Maybe that was actually what that headache was. 5 minutes. I don't know. But what I'm saying is get your shit in order immediately. And I joyfully made a list of all the stuff I was going to give away. Right? It was strangely joyful. It wasn't stressful at all. This whole thing was not stressful at all, guys. Like, understand, like, I was like, well, this is the reality of what's happening. I know what to do. And I did it. Okay. Now, the fourth thing to do in these, as you're dying or helping somebody die, is to confess. Get them to confess all the things that they've done in life that they regret. This is a Catholic confession. Bring up, if they're not Buddhist or they're not, whatever they are, maybe bring the priest to the hospital bed. I think they call it last rites, right? Get them to confess. Talk to people about the things they've done. Yeah, I don't know, Tracy, if they already have dementia. Good luck. Try. I mean, even if you get them to say, do you regret anything in life? And they say no, well, good. Okay. But anything that people have done, have them have a clear conscience. Even if you still regret what you did, but you share it with somebody else, right? Let it go. Let it all go. Let it all go. Do your 4 powers. Do the best you can. Let it go. Release it all. Because then you don't carry it through into death. And then the last one is the Geshe Chikawa aspect. Where are you? Is to wish that you can take on the suffering of all beings as you're dying. That may the pain of this experience, may all the pain, may all the bad deeds, may all the spiritual obstacles of other beings, may they ripen upon me now. It's like the ultimate Tonglen. You take the suffering of all beings, like Geshe Chikawa did, and say, I will take on the pain of all beings. I will remove all spiritual obstacles. May all these deeds ripen upon me, and may they ripen upon me now. Okay. In the Lama Chupa, we do that as well. Right? It's like you wish, whose seeds are ripening anyway? Get it? Who's suffering out there? And why are they suffering? May all those seeds ripen upon me and ripen upon me now. You can meditate on that. And if you have vows, it's really nice at the time of death to also retake them If you have Vajrayana practice, it's really nice to retake the vows and retake the initiation. If you have Bodhisattva vows, it's really nice to retake the vows. It's a way of cleansing, like it's in the confession aspect. I'm just going back one step. So you're just confessing, you're getting rid of the old stuff, and then you're setting yourself up with new vows to move into the next realm, whatever that is, with new vows. Right. So as a seasoned ACI practitioner, right? All of these things can feel a little heavy sometimes. They can feel a little like intense, right? But they don't have to be. We talked about this a couple classes ago. Like, how many people have you heard since the last class who have died? It's all around us all the time. We just ignore it. We just ignore it. So what are we going to do about it? So what are we going to do? Well, plant some good damn seeds. That's all we can do. Plant the seeds that are going to have the biggest results in the fastest way possible. Best karmic object. Use the 4 priorities. And if you have an awareness of death that you don't know when, and death is certain, and it could potentially happen at any moment, maybe the 3rd of the 4th priorities, which is related to being closer to death, that helps you ripen seeds faster. Just suggesting. It's just a suggestion. We can debate it. Right? And so then what do you do in all of this? Like, you make a promise, a commitment to practice, right? What are you practicing? You're removing your self-cherishing. You make a commitment to remove the self-cherishing. You get habituated to it. You plant the good seeds. You destroy anytime the head pops up. And then you do your coffee meditation at night. Right? And then you can also practice it as a POA, getting ready for death. Keeping the wish for enlightenment. I resolve to have the wish for enlightenment during my death. I get accustomed to that. I give away all my good stuff. I make an offering of all my stuff, including my body. I confess all my bad deeds. And then you take on the suffering of all living beings. May that ripen upon me now. Right? So it's a heavy practice. It's heavy, right? But the more you do it, the lighter it becomes, actually. Because then you start developing a confidence and knowledge about your own, the trajectory of your own life, the trajectory of what's going to happen for you afterwards. And then it creates a level of calm and relaxation, because you know what to do and when to do it and how to do it. You don't have to make so many choices anymore. It feels like you're having to make a lot of choices, but when you look around, you're like, I've spent most of the week just having nice conversations with people who need to have a conversation at work. At the hotel, I'm just like, yeah, I feel like a pile of dog shit right now. I don't feel well. Like, I don't know what's going on, but in all the tests seem to indicate there's nothing really wrong. Okay, so maybe I got COVID, maybe I have a virus, but am I going to sit around whine about it? Or am I just going to go and like, what's the best seed I can plant? I don't feel well. Fine. Okay, go take care of somebody. How are you going to feel better? By whining about it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Whine. Please whine. Sometimes it's fun to whine. Mommy, it's fun to whine. But the only way to create different seeds is by doing something different anyway. And when it's just a seed ripening, you're like, yeah, okay, having some seeds ripen right now. Then you don't worry about it so much. You don't worry about it. You're just like, all right, someone needs some time. I have a headache. All right, fine. I'll hang out with you to an extent, right? Then I got to go. But, I've spent most of the, and I don't get angry. Like this week, I haven't gotten angry this week. I'm so happy. My level of anger, like you should hit me in the back of the head with a baseball bat more often. I don't get angry. I'm just not angry. I'm like, it doesn't help. Being angry doesn't help. And probably creates more headaches, if not other stuff. So I really like teaching you guys, and I'm really happy that you're here. I'm really happy you want to learn. I'm really happy to see you practicing. And it gets me up in the morning. So I thank you so much for all of that. Thanks for coming. If only one of you came, I still would teach, but it's nice to have a full class of people. So what's next? There's lots of next stuff. The continuation of the ACI series, ACI 9, starts at the end of October. So you got a little bit of a break from me. Thank God, right? You can take a break. And we're going to be doing a course on the Vinaya, which is like, it's like, why do we keep going? Why are we working in these levels, right? It's a beautiful course on vowed morality. Like, so, and all of this prepares us to move into next year, which we're going to be doing the Bodhisattva's way of life, right? We're going to be doing 3 courses next year on Shantideva, which is such a beautiful, beautiful course. And these lower track courses, like lower scope courses, Vinaya and death meditation, which they're not lower in a like lesser sense, right? But they're a foundation for all of that. The foundation for your bodhicitta to work is to understand that you're going to die. Sorry. You don't know when it's going to happen, but it becomes a foundation for everything else, right? So we're going to start that in the end of October. Yay. I want to thank all the admins. There's this beautiful admin chat that has like 18 of you in it, 17 or something like that, who manage this course. They put announcements out, they manage the platforms, they manage translators, they manage tech people. They get everyone that's needed to make this course go, and I'm honored to have that many people. Like, I'm kind of surprised. Like, it always surprises me. I'm like, wow, look at all these people that want to help. Like, that's you doing the laundry. Get it? That's the laundry, right? And then just to rejoice for a second. Um, all of the translators who are offering this, and all the people that are recording, and all the people that are putting it on the platform, you're creating legacy, and you're creating access for people for the future. Like, the seeds don't stop just because you stop pushing record in 2 minutes, right? That's not how seeds work. every single person who opens up this YouTube video, whether on YouTube or in our ACI platform, you get the seeds of spreading the Dharma, right? Don't forget that. I kind of think that's probably why all the seeds activated for me, because that's what I thought about all the time. Every Lam Rim that I produced was about the future, like hundreds of people having access, thousands of people having access to courses. And I know how many people have watched them since we started recording them many, many, many years ago, which I was involved in. The numbers are staggering. If you ever get depressed about the fact that you're going to die, just go and look at how many people watch the classes that you have recorded. Okay. And then you can say, well, I can die happy because I know that millions of people will have access to this afterwards. I've had a good life. I know that I'm making an impact. And I just want to celebrate the impact that I see you all making. So let's do a dedication. Let's close our eyes. And I want you to think about, I'd like you to think about, I invite you to think about what the most perfect world looks like for you. What things are in it? Who is in it? What's not in it? What does it feel like to be there? See yourself in that world as the most perfect being, that perfected being who's achieved all the goals, your own goals and the goals of others. And then offer that perfect world to your teacher. And see them receive it with joy and happiness. And then dedicate those seeds to that world becoming a possibility. Dedicate everything that you've done in this class in your life and all of your lifetimes. That then may ripen in that perfect world. All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, we have a bunch of stuff coming up. I don't want to advertise all of it, but we have a Nagarjuna event. We have a Medicine Buddha event. We have a lot of cool stuff. We have Kyoto coming up. You'll see it in your chats. Try to come. Try to come to hear it from the master's mouth. And yeah, please keep studying and please keep serving others. So let's say goodbye. Wishing everyone well.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tim.
Bye.
Muchísimas gracias.
Labai ačiū.
Gracias. Feliz día. Gracias.
Gracias,
Tim. Todo maravilloso.
Gracias, maestro Tim, que síguenos enseñando, por favor.
谢谢Tim老师。Thank you.
Please stay.
Thank you for a tremendous course. Please stay with us.
Thank you for such beautiful classes. And the whole course.
All right, guys. Take care. See you soon.
谢谢 Tim 老师，谢谢，感恩。
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And see you then. Bye. Bye. Very